All right. Thank you for that. Now it's time for Sam Knickerbocker's speech. Sam's a wealth coach that focuses on the mindset transformation necessary to build your perfect, meaningful legacy. So this is titled Build Your Perfect, Meaningful Legacy, and it is 8 to 10 minutes. Sam Knickerbocker.
Sam, 8, 9, and 10?
Sure. I just made up those numbers. I don't know. That's how long I want to be in my speech, so that's what I made up.
Yeah.
How many of you have ever felt like you were part of a joke, or even the butt? You said the butt of the joke, but it was an inside joke that you weren't part of. So you said something, and everybody started laughing at something you were not privy to. Why is that funny? Why is what I just said so funny? Well, there's a wonderful story about some professors. They had to speak for a faculty meeting. And 3 of them showed up on time with their spouses in tow. But the 4th one was running late, didn't make it in time, and as a result, he shows up, and the 3 other speakers said, "Hey, we've assigned you to speak the longest time, and you get to talk about sex." And I said, "What? Why?
Sex.
Why do I have to talk about sex?" And he says, "Because you're the only one whose wife isn't here." And I said, okay. So he goes up. He doesn't know anything about subject, right? So he goes up, not to talk to his faculty members, at least. Goes up and gives this wonderful speech, just goes on for about 30 minutes, and gets a standing ovation about this topic. Well, then he has to go home. He's super embarrassed to tell his wife that he just gave a 30-minute speech on sex. And so she says, "How did your speech go?" "Well, it was really good. I talked about sailing, and it was just fantastic. Everybody gave me a standing ovation. It's great." And so that was the end of it. Except for she's like, "You don't really know anything about sailing. Whatever." And he says, "Well, they didn't know that, so it's fine." A few days later, she's out grocery shopping. And a few of the women who were in the audience come up to her and say, "Wow, that was an amazing speech your husband did. That was incredible. I didn't know he knew so much." And she says to them, "Oh, he doesn't really know that much. He's only done it twice. The first time he fell off." Okay? She has no idea though, right? Communication is such an interesting thing. When you're working together one-on-one in a professional capacity, especially when one person has information and the other person is a novice to that information, and we're trying to communicate about that information and reach a common goal, it can be a little difficult. Because a lot of people talk, but not as many people actually communicate. They're not all on the same page. And that story illustrates that pretty well, where you can be part of a conversation, think you're hearing one thing, but not really be hearing the other. And so as we talk about legacy and building wealth and what it's going to take to get there, then it's important that we can all be on the same page. Now, because of language, we all have barriers to communication. I could say one word, and because of experiences you guys have had in your past, you may interpret that word according to your experience rather than how it was intended to be said. So I need you to just throw off your experiences and just forget about them for a few minutes while I share one of my experiences. Because of the house I grew up in when I was younger, relationship issues and abuse, then I wanted to make sure that I had got that completely out of my life when I started my family and was going to begin building my legacy. Now, part of building a legacy, for me, it was important that I had a companion to build that legacy with. And so I took dating very, very seriously. Studied a lot of relationship books, studied a lot of marriage books, divorce books, affair books, just anything that could possibly come up in a relationship. I wanted to know about it before I got into a relationship with somebody. And I went on a lot of dates as well. So I found out people's personalities. I watched a lot of chick flicks to find out what is the world telling these women that they should expect, so I know where to tell them that they're not going to get that out of me. Okay? I wanted to be able to be and live in constancy with my significant other, my spouse, And I also wanted to be able to communicate what I expected and what I needed. Not just expected, but needed out of a relationship. Went on dates with probably 100 different girls over the spring, fall, and summer, and fall of 2015. And then I got a message from a girl on Facebook. And it happened to be Charlie. So we started talking, and we went on 2 dates. And then this third date, this is where it really was make it or break it for us. How many of you guys like mountain biking? Anybody? You guys done it before? Okay, a few of us. There's a canyon up above the Draper Temple that you can go up and then kind of mountain bike down, or I don't know what they call it, mountain bike down. And it's kind of hilly, it goes up and down. Well, she hadn't been on a bike for like 2.5 years because of her mission. And I had been going on this trail pretty regularly because me and my friends would go on this trail often. So we set out, and we were about 10 minutes up this trail. She was in front, I was in back. Imagine you're a bird in a tree watching this interchange between two people who barely know each other. Been on 2 dates. She's starting to slow down, struggling, going up this hill. And so she yells back, "Hey, you can just go ahead and I'll meet you at the top." Now, in her mind, she's trying to be courteous and not slow me down. But because of my experiences in my family and all of the research and study that I'd done, I knew that when you apply a principle in one area of your life, it shows up in every area of your life. So I stopped my bike. I said, "Hey, did you mean what you just said?" She's like, "Yeah, you can go ahead." I was like, "No, we're not talking about this bike ride anymore. What I'm talking about is our relationship. I'm in here to get married, and this date's pretty much over. Right now, we can turn around and drive back down. If you think that a relationship means that one partner can just go ahead when they're doing good and the other one's struggling, and maybe we'll just pass on the path occasionally. I know I've got things in my life that I need some support at times, and I'm ready to be there for you during those same times, but I'm not going to continue a relationship with somebody who lives on a principle that we're just going to keep going ahead of each other." And she's very shocked at this point. And she says, "I didn't mean that, I didn't mean that." I was like, "Well, I don't really care what you meant, but this is principles, and I think this is important to live our lives by principles." So we had a discussion about it, and she said, "Okay, I'm willing to consider that, Sam." I said, "Okay, we can continue the date." You may think that this is really a serious conversation, or like, that was rude, maybe you shouldn't have said it that way. I don't profess to be the most tactful person, but I do know that I want a committed, loving, fulfilling relationship, and I want it to work, and I want both of us to be 100% committed to it. When it comes to wealth, think of what things you get most stressed out about in life. Things that tear relationships apart. It comes to wealth, right? Wealth in your faith, wealth in your fitness, wealth in your family, how much are you investing in these areas, wealth financially. And so when I'm sitting in front of somebody about to begin this journey up the mountain, climbing to build a legacy that they can be proud of, that they can share with their family, I need to know that they are 100% committed to the process, as I am. If either one of us is not, that would be like kneeling across the altar, and you're about to have the word spoken, "I do," and your spouse leans over and says, "Hey buddy, I'm 80% committed to you." It just won't work. It's not going to work. And so when it comes to wealth building and legacy building, I demand from my clients that we are perfect 10s for each other, that we're committed to the process, and that when the going gets tough, they can rely on me to help them achieve their goals, and I'm not going to give up on them.